Wild Card, 2015. Nick Wilde, a hardened Las Vegas bodyguard with a sharp mind for cards, drifts through the neon desert of casinos, surviving on small protection jobs and his legendary gambling skills. Haunted by past mistakes and an unfulfilled desire to leave the city, Nick dreams of escaping to Venice, where the ocean might wash away his sins. Instead, he keeps circling the same smoky rooms, breaking up fights, settling debts, and quietly observing human greed. Beneath his tough exterior lies a weary man who still believes that one perfect hand of cards could change everything and give him the freedom he desperately craves. Nick's routine life shatters when his old friend Holly calls him in tears, beaten and humiliated by a sadistic gangster named Danny DeMarco. Fueled by loyalty and a buried sense of justice, Nick hunts Danny down, confronting him in a brutal, no-nonsense fight. Nick's skills overwhelm the gangster, and for a moment it seems justice has been served. However, Nick refuses to kill Danny, choosing instead to take his money as compensation for Holly. This decision sets a dangerous chain of events in motion, because Danny belongs to a powerful mob family that will not forgive such humiliation. With Danny's stolen money in hand, Nick believes his dream of escape is finally within reach. He heads to the casino, convinced that a lucky streak could multiply his winnings enough to buy freedom. At the blackjack table, Nick displays incredible discipline and intelligence, counting cards with precision and winning round after round. The tension rises as stacks of chips grow higher, attracting attention from both security and dangerous gamblers. Nick feels alive, as though fate itself is smiling on him. Yet deep down, he knows that in Las Vegas, every win always demands a price. Just as Nick reaches a staggering fortune, his old weakness returns. Instead of cashing out, he keeps playing, driven by a reckless urge to test destiny. The cards turn against him, and in a devastating spiral, he loses everything. In mere minutes, his dream of Venice vanishes, leaving him broke and exposed. Worse still, Danny's powerful mob relatives now know Nick was responsible for the beating and robbery. With no money and no protection, Nick becomes a hunted man in a city ruled by crime. His once confident swagger is replaced by grim determination to survive. Nick seeks help from Cyrus Kinnick, a ruthless mob boss who also happens to be Danny's father. Knowing that honesty may be his only weapon, Nick offers to retrieve the stolen money if Cyrus spares his life. Cyrus agrees, setting Nick on a desperate mission to find Holly and recover what remains of Danny's cash. Nick tracks her down, only to discover she has already spent most of it trying to escape her own troubled life. Despite his anger, Nick shows compassion, understanding that she was simply trying to survive. Still, the clock is ticking, and death is close behind. In a tense confrontation, Nick manages to get back enough money to partially repay Cyrus, but it is not enough to satisfy the mob boss. Cyrus orders his men to kill Nick anyway, seeing him as a liability. Nick escapes in a violent shootout, proving that even when cornered, he remains incredibly dangerous. Running through the gritty back alleys of Las Vegas, Nick realizes he can no longer rely on luck or charm. His survival now depends on pure skill and cold calculation, as he prepares for one final showdown with the criminal empire that wants him dead. Nick uses his knowledge of the city's underground to turn the tables on Cyrus's men. He sets traps, manipulates rival gangs, and causes confusion within the mob ranks. Slowly, he weakens their grip, buying himself time. Meanwhile, Nick reflects on his life, understanding that his greatest enemy has always been himself and his addiction to risk. Though he has lost his fortune, he has gained clarity. He no longer wants to gamble with his future. He wants a clean break from violence, debt, and betrayal, even if achieving that means facing overwhelming danger one last time. The final confrontation unfolds when Nick confronts Cyrus in a dramatic, deadly standoff. Using both strategy and sheer nerve, Nick outsmarts the mob boss, exposing internal betrayals and forcing Cyrus into a losing position. Though the battle is fierce, Nick survives, leaving the once powerful gangster ruined. With the mob threat finally neutralized, Nick walks away bruised but alive. He has no money, no protection, and no guarantees, yet for the first time in years, he feels truly free. The city of Las Vegas no longer owns him, and neither does his addiction to chance. Nick returns to the casino one final time, not to gamble recklessly, but to play with discipline and control. Sitting at the blackjack table, he calmly places his bets, guided by intelligence rather than desperation. Slowly, he builds a modest stack of chips, enough to give him a fresh start. Unlike before, he knows exactly when to walk away. As he leaves the table, the weight of his past seems to lift. Nick realizes that winning is not about taking every risk, but about knowing when to stop and protect what truly matters, including his own life. With just enough money to escape Las Vegas, Nick finally sets his sights on the ocean and the peaceful life he has long dreamed of. Boarding a bus toward a new beginning, he looks back at the glowing city, aware of all it took from him and everything he learned within its shadows. Though scars remain, Nick feels stronger, wiser, and no longer chained to reckless chance. His journey proves that redemption is possible, even for a man who lived by violence and gambling. In the end, Nick Wilde becomes master of his fate, rather than a slave to luck.